Hello and welcome to Experteering Office Hours. My name is Mark Roszewski. I'm one of the core members of the MovingWorlds.org team. We help people volunteer their skills around the world. Many of us have spent a lot of time doing that ourselves. We're here to share best practices, tips, and tricks in doing so, as well as answering questions. We're just kind of getting some things up and running right now. I'm a little delayed. Sincere apologies about that. But looking forward to kicking things off and sharing some insight. So give me just a moment here as we click on some buttons here to get our Experteering office hours up and running. And we like to start out all of these sessions with a few best practices, tips, tricks, and tools. And so in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and kick off just a short, I promise, just a short presentation in order to get everybody up to speed on exactly what we're talking about when we talk about volunteering skills around the world. So in a moment here, we should see a presentation flip up here on screen, and then we can use that to show you. Oh, it looks like Google Docs has encountered a error. So maybe we won't be doing that. Well, in lieu of being able to share this presentation because of looks like a Google's Docs crash here, I'm going to go ahead and share these things verbally, which isn't quite as exciting, but we'll have to settle for at least this time. We'll get that ironed out for our next hangout, our next office hours. So I like to kick off all these with a quote from Lao Tzu, and most people don't know who Lao Tzu is. An ancient philosopher from China. He's got a really inspiring quote that we use as a training for everybody that we help connect to volunteering opportunities around the world. In it, it goes like this: learn from the people, plan with the people, begin with what they have, build on what they know. Of the best leaders, when the task is accomplished, the people will remark, we have done it ourselves. And I think the most important thing to consider when volunteering overseas is exactly that. You're really looking to empower and engage local efforts. So we've got a couple questions coming in and have come in from before the actual session has started. So I'm going to just address a couple of those. One of the most popular questions that we get from people is, how can I use my skills overseas? In what capacity? What if I only have a week? What if I have 3 months? What if I have a year? What's the best way to truly engage? And the way that we really break it down is, and we actually just issued a blog post on almost this very topic, is that there are lots of ways to engage, and as long as you're doing something that is initiated by the local community or the organization or the school that you're working on, then that's the foundation for making an impact. And then the ways that you do it, well, we typically see people adopt one of 4 roles. The first one is doing roles. This is a very specific project. We've connected some people who have gone to both design and build some eco-friendly structures in Panama. We've had people go to Guatemala to help with the specific construction or development of a website. Connected people in Thailand who worked solely on improving processes. And really, if you think of a doer as a very, very specific project. The second most popular role that we see people drop into is more of a training capacity. And so this is connecting you to either a single or a group or a large number of community members or entrepreneurs or nonprofit leaders or nonprofit managers to train on specific skills. And we've seen everything from social media marketing skills to online tools to training Excel, financial tools. If you can think about even in your own day-to-day things that you've been taught either on the job or while volunteering, Those are often transferable skills that we can connect other people to as well, and those prove to be really, really, really valuable. So the third role that we see people in are more of consultant roles. And if you think about organizations on the ground, some might say things like, well, we need help lowering our operational costs. Well, that's a really, really big question. And that takes somebody who can come down and engage and spend a decent amount of time analyzing and observing the processes and operations of that organization, for-profit or nonprofit, and can then come forth with a proposal to say, look, here are some ways how we can maybe cut costs from suppliers or build more sustainability into our supply chain, and look over the length of the entire kind of operational process in order to drive that down. We've also seen people step into consulting roles around, financial and accounting issues, around fundraising issues, around event planning issues, almost any core business or technical or creative practice. We've seen consultants really go into and enter. And then the fourth role, which is probably the rarest, but it still happens, is you step in as a team member. There are a lot of incredibly well-meaning organizations that just don't have resources and they can't afford to hire for a position. But in exchange, they can provide a really, really rich, immersive, cultural experience over an extended period of time. And we have seen people step into roles to help lead either sales efforts or fundraising efforts. Occasionally, operational process efforts, those are usually so core to the organization that we actually will warn against that a little bit. And so if it's a business support role and isn't like really the core of the business, then it's okay to step in there as a team member. Of course, there's best practices for all of these, and that's certainly something that we can dive into and have shared across on our blog and in other channels. There is those are the few main ways that we see people really engaging. So people in a doing capacity, people in a training capacity, people in a consulting capacity, and then people in a team member capacity. And after this, I'll attach a document in the comments with some of the best practices that we see. So, alrighty, so cool. Another question that we really see a lot of is how long should I go? And that's really a fantastic question. We're actually going to be planning future office hours and future best practice sharing sessions like this in the future for that very purpose. And one of the benefits of going in a flexible program is you can actually find an opportunity that builds around your schedule. One thing in Moving Worlds that we always say is, look, if you have skills and if you have passion and if you have energy, then somewhere there's an organization that can immensely benefit from the knowledge and experience that you have, and we strongly encourage you to go through any means to find that type of organization. Now, for how long? Well, that's really up to you. International travel, international volunteering is a deeply personal experience. Anything less than a week, it's really hard to create any type of impact. Any less than 3 weeks, it's challenging to create really deep connections with other people, which are often a foundation for longer work. Now that said, there are things that you can absolutely do in 1 week's time frame, and it's things that we've helped see. So we've had people lead startup marketing workshops and lead startup practice workshops to large groups of startups. We've had people bounce around in startup accelerators in the Middle East and hold a lot of marketing consulting and short training sessions. And so if there's a very specific skill that you are passionate about, social media, maybe even software engineering best practices around a specific technology, there's almost anything that you have, even a series of shorter conversations with people working in the impact sector somewhere, you can really benefit in a short amount of time. And if that's all the time you have, then by all means, that's all the time you should give. And there are ways to get you connected. Once you can get to 3 weeks, that gives you more time to engage a little more deeply, to be able to spend almost the first week in observation mode, to really soak in cultural differences, core processes, core operations, really see what's happening within a community. and or within an organization or within a school. And you can leverage that kind of time of observation in order to then deliver a project or consult a little bit more accurately and effectively. And we've absolutely seen some really powerful things done in a few weeks' time. And kind of the longer you go, the more deeply you can engage, and of course, the more deeper the personal relationships you can make, which are always really, really valuable. So that said, how long? In summary, how long can you go experteering for? Well, you can go as short as a week, and you can go as long as we have somebody who's on month 18, and so you could really go anywhere within that range. As a volunteer. The most common, I think there's three most commons. We see 1 to 3 week engagements, and then we kind of see these 4 to 8 weeks, so kind of 1 to 2 month engagements is the next popular, and then you have these longer ones that are 3 months plus, and they're all kind of in their own right popular for those groups. So we see the shorter stint is usually people on vacation. The mid stint is typically people in either career transitions, career breaks, or maybe they're rolling out of a graduate program. And then some of the longer are people who are early retirees and are just out, or people who have a couple years of running room and decide to spend that in social good activity. So who those people are varies, but that's the typical link. So alrighty, let's see. Pulling up some of the other lists of questions that we've got. Not everybody was able to join live, and so in that best we'll do our best to answer some questions that that came across. So yeah, so where do you go for more volunteering resources? Well, there are a big list of resources, and we're working on compiling a better list. And I think from some of the insight that we're getting, I can kind of say that we're working on consolidating that even more. So I guess stay tuned, and we'll share some more with you. Honestly, I think that the best advice you can get is from people that are really focused on skilled volunteering. Of course, so Moving Worlds is obviously focused in that area. I think CUSO International, even the Peace Corps, international fellowship organizations like Acumen, they all have interesting collections of resources that you can use to learn more. I think the most important takeaway is that you do learn more. Volunteering overseas, while fun and exciting and very enticing, it is a personal journey, and you can really benefit yourself and your receiving organization a ton if you spend some time to really soak in and learn. Learning both about cultural differences, learning both about industry differences, learning about country, geographical, political, and religious differences. These are some things that vary so much location by location that your kind of ultimate learning partner is not a book or a resource or a blog, but is somebody who's been there, somebody who's done that, and also your receiving organization, because they're also learning about you. And so the best way to learn more about the organization and the location and the type of work that you're doing is spending an ample amount of time before you go engaging with the community that you're going to be working with. So it looks like from a timing perspective, and again, my apologies, we got started a little bit late here, but I do want to honor the nice kind of short conciseness of these office hours. We'll have more on a frequent basis, something that you can always see at Moving Worlds, where we connect to these experteering officers, as well as by following us right here on YouTube and on Google+. And we'll do our best to connect you to more opportunities around the world where you can use your skills. So again, to the viewers, apologies again for getting started a little bit late. Promise that won't happen again. But very very excited about the turnout and the questions, and hopefully some of this content was useful. And again, I really apologize that the presentation didn't come across, so I'll send that afterwards. But thanks so much for kind of the interest that you have in sharing your own skills around the world. And so, in order to kind of close off this presentation, I'm going to just share my screen for a second here, and we'll end this conversation the way that it started. So learn from the people, plan with the people, begin with what they know, build on what they know. The best leaders, when the task is accomplished, the people will remark, we have done it ourselves. And let that be your guiding light as you use your skills for greater good around the world. Thanks so much for tuning in.